what's something you've learned about Michael Jackson through the whole experience that you didn't know? Well, I know there's plenty of things you didn't know before, but
Of course.
but but like any kind of like any particular kind of any particular thing that was kind of really very surprising to you? Because I know even though there's a lot of things you didn't know, there was a lot of things that was presented to the public about Michael Jackson, about how he lived and things like that. So even though we didn't know him personally, we felt like we did because it was Michael Jackson. So was there?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yes. So was there anything that you picked up on? It's like, oh man, the public should know about this or this. Wow, he didn't. Anything like that.
Yeah, of course. Outside of the fact that he's probably one of the most remarkable artists we'll ever see in our generation, and a very kind-hearted person. I mean, everyone who I interviewed, his inner circle. I mean, Gladys Knight, his children, his lawyers. We kind of, we were making a documentary about him, so we were interviewing everyone who knew him personally. And one of the things I noticed, everyone who spoke of Michael, who knew him, their eyes would light up. I mean, he was obviously very influential to them, and just being in his lives, you can see the influence he had on them. And it was all positive. But the one thing, and which was the subject of our documentary, that I thought the world didn't know, especially at the time, because his children were, hidden from the public back then. One of the things that surprised me was what a good father he was to them. And this, to me, was apparent because his children were very grounded and very normal, and it was all because of the way he raised them. And also they were quite worldly because, he took them around the world, and that was their education on life. And they told me a lot of stories about Michael and, throughout this time, and that was the subject of our documentary. It was called Remembering Michael. And it was to show the world his influences not only on, everyone around him, his fans, but his own children, and how they wanted to, take what Michael gave them and give back to the world in that way. For example, his youngest son, Blanket, who has changed his name since, it was astounding to hear him speak about, how Michael took them around the world, and he was able to see, countries and what they were going through, some issues in countries like Africa and poverty, and the way animals were treated in certain countries and the way people were treated in others. And he wanted to make this his life's work, just like his father did, to heal the world and to, do something about it, to raise money and to use his voice and his platform for those causes. And I thought that was amazing because he was about 6 or 7 years old when he was telling me this. So to me, I think, it was sort of overlooked. A lot of people saw Michael's children wearing masks and so on, and they sort of assumed that there was a circus going on. But the reality is that they were very grounded, very caring, very kind, and this was all, because of who Michael was himself.
This is some guy named Jay, and this is just a clip of the session interview with Sonia Lowe. If you want to hear the full interview, just go to themediablast.net. That's www.themediablast.net, and go to the interview section, or go directly to the Spreaker link in the information box below.